With the Freaks, Lucas Oil Studios. This segment brought to you by our good friends at General Tire. Go to generaltire.com to check out a line of tires to keep your rides fat and happy on the road. Crash Gladys Pit News and Notes. Hit it.
Enders. Now, we touched on it a bit. What are your thoughts on Kyle Larson's second Indy 500 test this week in Phoenix? He got loose, but he also got more comfortable. You dig?
And Crash, you're talking about Kyle Larson running at Phoenix International Raceway in the IndyCar test last week. There was a bit that IndyCar put together with the news feed, and we condensed it down to about 2.5 minutes, highlighting Kyle Larson's run at Phoenix International Raceway and comments after he got out of the car. It's Kyle Larson now, SpeedFreaks Pits and Lucas Oil Studios.
Yeah, I just wrapped up here at Phoenix in the Arrow McLaren IndyCar. It was good to get some laps at a different place, you know, a kind of fast-paced, you know, track. You know, we got to get comfortable, you know, with like lifting and stuff like that. So built up to it, and obviously the car is a lot different than what was ran here in 2018. So don't really know, you know, how my driving style was in reference to like what somebody who races these things every weekend would be like, but I felt like I got comfortable enough to where, you know, we finally kind of found the edge there, and I almost, you know, spun out off a turn, well, IndyCar turn 2, our NASCAR's turn 4. That was good, you know, to have a moment like that. Had a few moments, but that was the biggest one. So that was good and didn't crash. And then just ran through some, you know, pit stop kind of scenarios and making mistakes. Doing that was good. So, you know, felt like I did better kind of getting into my stall and all that than I did at the Indy rookie orientations. Yeah, we were able to check a lot of boxes and yeah, get reacclimated and looking forward to, I think, the open test there in Indy in April, and then, you know, getting on into the month of May. So thanks to everybody at Arrow McLaren and Hendrick Motorsports and everybody involved in making this project happen. And you know, it's good to get some more experience. So I look forward to the rest of my time in the car, and yeah, we'll see how the rest of the time goes.
I know, Crasher, you hearing that IndyCar in an empty Phoenix International Raceway. Why are you shaking your head?
Drives me crazy because it's been 5 years since we've had IndyCar at Phoenix International Raceway. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now, Kenny.
I get it. But hearing Kyle Larson compare the IndyCar, well, we're going to hear sound bites from Kyle Larson this segment, next segment, talking about his experience. There was a press conference after this test where a number of journalists had a chance to sit down and talk to Kyle. We'll hear some of that now, and then, of course, the next segment. But a guy that's had his share of race wins and success there at Phoenix International Raceway in a Cup car, to come out there to what a lot of people think is a completely different setup and a completely different way to drive that track.
Oh, yeah.
And go out there and keep it from jumping into the wall in the IndyCar Turn 1. To hear him honestly talk about it is fun to listen to. Kyle Larson talked about running a Cup car at Phoenix International Raceway and the differences in those cars.
The characteristics of the IndyCar versus the Cup car, at least at Phoenix, felt very similar. So you're just going a lot faster. I mean, in an IndyCar, so like the moments happen a little bit quicker. The edge of like good versus not good feels a little sharper. But yeah, it didn't feel, you know, way different than what I was what I guess I'm used to. And even with those moments of getting sideways, it didn't feel way different.
Something along the lines of, speaking of 2018, when IndyCar was there, I had a tweet. I remember a bunch of the IndyCar drivers retweeted it. Something along the lines of the fastest NASCAR speed at PIR was still less than the pace car, or like 10 miles an hour less than the pace car of IndyCar, or something along those lines. It was stunning, the speed difference at the 1 mile oval in Phoenix.
But we've seen Crash, Suave. We've seen IndyCar run at Phoenix Raceway, and seeing a single car run during testing like Kyle Larson was doing looks badass, looks fast, quick, and all of that. But when we've seen them run in the past at Phoenix Raceway, it was a freaking parade. It just didn't look as fantastic as we thought it would running at Phoenix International Raceway. But I'm getting away from the topic here, and it's Kyle Larson testing the IndyCar at Phoenix International Raceway after he did it IMS, International Motorsports,
Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Listen, there's so many freaking initials in this
I know.
motorsports that we cover.
PRI, PIR, IMS, ISM, SMI.
Right. TMI. How about that, man?
Yeah, TMI.
Kyle Larson talking about how uncomfortable it was for him to run in the IndyCar versus the Cup car at Phoenix International Raceway.
Honestly, yesterday was probably more uncomfortable just because it's a smaller track and things are happening quicker, and you're having to lift off the throttle a little bit. At Indy, once we got through the different stages and stuff, I mean, we were wide open pretty easy, by yourself. It was a cool day and all that. So yesterday was fun to kind of, you have to work on the timing of the corner and you work through some balance things because the balance was definitely not perfect, which was good to feel. At Indy, like I said, I'm out there by myself. They've got downforce packed into it, so I'm comfortable, and I didn't really feel much about the car changing there. So it was good to feel the car not be quite perfect at times yesterday.
The NASCAR Cup Series returns to Worldwide Technology Raceway on June 1st and 2nd, 2024. The time to get your tickets is now.
Let's go! Yeah!
For only $10 down, you can lock in your seats for an incredible weekend of family fun, featuring the Enjoy Illinois 300 and the Confluence Music Festival. It all adds up to one amazing party. Go to www.raceway.com for the hottest ticket of the year. Whatever you do, General Tire delivers.
It's a little dangerous for other drivers to hear his confidence in appreciating a loose car or appreciating a lack of balance. Because that dude, I'm telling you, he is one of the greatest drivers in NASCAR history. I think when his career is over, we're going to be saying that. He's liking the lack of stability. And that just means he's learning and he's learning and he's learning. And that's crazy. Come in the day of the Indy 500, Memorial Day Sunday, he's going to definitely be one to watch. He's with one of the greater teams, and he's a smart guy himself. He's picking up these little nuances that other drivers would just let go by the wayside.
Statman, we got a couple of minutes here. Let's remind folks who don't know this that the IndyCar, that IndyCars do not have. Okay, back up a second. That the Cup cars have power steering. Mm-hmm. IndyCars do not have power steering, and we know just by watching IndyCar versus Cup car how tough it is to send one of those cars into a corner like Phoenix International Raceway.
All of that's good. Kyle Larson is a brilliant driver. He understands balance. He understands the car. He's picking it up, even though it is one car versus 32 others with him at Indy and 30 however many cars in the NASCAR race these days.
Right.
But I think the biggest issue is going to be discipline. There are a lot of IndyCar drivers who don't have discipline, and they will dive into the grass to pass somebody. Even my favorite time is Buddy Rice. It went inches from the wall that could have taken out half the field, but he got through. Who knows if he'd have gotten through the next time or whenever. I don't think Larson has displayed the discipline to get by with an open wheel car and 32 other cars on the track at 225 plus, at 230 going into turn 1 at Indianapolis, with the grandstands filled with red, white, and blue shirts and flags and people screaming and hats and hot dog papers flying around. I don't know that he has the discipline. At least he hasn't demonstrated it yet.
We will resume this conversation and in particular hit what Statman's talking about, because Kyle Larson almost spun that car into a wall at Phoenix International Raceway. More with Kyle Larson coming up. SpeedFreaks Pits and the Lucas Oil Studios.